All right, so we've talked about mitosis. Now we're going to talk about meiosis. So you'll need your notebook. We're going to write down notes for this. Mitosis and meiosis sound very similar. I did not name them. Okay, I would not have named them something so similar. We're going to talk about how they're different. They're both types of cell division. We'll also talk about how they're similar. But for right now, you just need the title in your notebook. Okay. So here are our learning targets. You'll notice this is the last learning target we have, okay? I can compare and contrast mitosis and meiosis. So you have to be able to tell me what's similar between the two and what's different, okay? So the function, what do they do, right? What types of cells do they make? How many cells do they make? How many chromosomes are in each of those cells? So that's what you should be able to tell me for the test. All right. So meiosis, do you remember how many chromosomes are in each human cell? I'm going to have you guess and answer. It's okay if you get it wrong. I honestly am not going to be grading this on whether you get the answers right or wrong, okay? Just whether you do them. 46, if you said 46, you are correct. So every cell, think about it. Cells are really small, right? You've got trillions of them. So each of those cells has 46 chromosomes. Remember we said chromosomes are made of DNA, right? Chromosomes have your genes, okay? And they live in which part of the cell? What part holds the DNA? The nucleus, right? So take a look at these chromosomes. These are actual pictures of chromosomes. They had to use a super strong microscope in order to take pictures of these chromosomes. Everyone's chromosomes look pretty similar. They look like this, okay? But everyone's chromosomes are different. We just can't see those differences in this picture. What do you notice about these chromosomes? Do you notice anything? You might say you notice that they're in pairs, right? There's 2 of each of them. We have a name for these pairs. These are called homologous chromosomes, okay? So homologous chromosomes are chromosomes with the same types of traits. The reason we have pairs of them is because you got one from mom and one from dad. If you think about it, each person is a mixture of their mom and their dad. They've got genes or DNA from mom and genes or DNA from dad, okay? So if we go back, we see that we've got pairs of chromosomes, right? Because on the number 1 chromosome, we get 1 from mom and 1 from dad. The number 2 chromosome, 1 from mom, 1 from dad. These are called homologous chromosomes, okay? So they have the same types of traits, and they're similar, but they're not identical. You can pause this if you need more time to write, but if you take a look at these pictures, okay, homologous chromosomes here on the left. Notice, this chromosome might be from mom. So mom's giving you genes for blue eyes and freckles. Dad's giving you genes for brown eyes and no freckles, okay? Which gene's gonna win? Well, that's gonna be in our one of our following units in genetics. We're gonna talk about, well, if we have a gene for freckles and a gene for no freckles, how do we figure out what is the kid gonna look like? And if you've learned about Punnett squares, that's where those come in. Okay, so anyway, notice these are similar because they both have genes for freckles, even though those genes are different. They both have genes for eye color, but those genes are different. Here's an example of chromosomes that are not homologous. The one on the left has a trait for freckles, right? Has the gene for freckles and eye color. This one has hair color and face shape. So those are not homologous. They're 2 chromosomes, but they're not homologous because they don't have the same types of traits, okay? If you wanted to write or draw the example of homologous and non-homologous, you can. You don't need to, but if you would like to, you can. Notice I also made these chromosomes a little bit different size, okay? Typically, if they are homologous chromosomes, they'll be about the same size. All right, so let's go back to meiosis then. here's our problem, okay? All of dad's cells have 46 chromosomes. All of mom's cells have 46 chromosomes, right? Mitosis makes an exact copy of a cell, right? So mitosis, you already learned about this, okay? We're thinking about mitosis, makes an exact copy. If we made an exact copy of mom's cells and dad's cells to make sperm and eggs, how many chromosomes would be in each cell? Go ahead and take a second, make an exact copy. Did you guess 46? You're right. Okay, an exact copy would make sperm and egg cells that have 46 chromosomes, okay? Don't write this diagram down because it's wrong, but I'm gonna show you why we're doing it in a second. Okay, so now let's think about it. If the sperm and the egg combine, how many chromosomes will the baby have in each of its cells? Okay, so the chromosomes from the sperm combine with the chromosomes from the egg. If we combine those two together, we add them together, how many are we gonna get? Did you say 92? Because that would be correct. 46 plus 46 is going to make 92 chromosomes for the baby. Guess what? A baby can't have 92 chromosomes in each of its cells. He has to have 46, right? Just like mom and dad, all humans have 46 chromosomes in their cells. So we can't make sperm and egg cells using mitosis, because if we did, we'd make a baby with 92 chromosomes, which is not going to work. We need a different form of cell division in order to make sperm and egg cells. This is what meiosis is for. So think about it. How many chromosomes do the sperm and egg cells need to have in order to create a baby with 46 chromosomes? So our baby's going to have 46. Sperm plus egg has to equal 46. Did you say 23? If you did, you're correct, right? So they need to have half of the number of chromosomes. So we've got to be able to make cells that have 23 chromosomes, and that's what meiosis is for, okay? So meiosis, okay? Here's where we're going to start writing some stuff down now. Okay, so what I want you to do, I want you to draw a line down the middle of your paper. Okay, write mitosis on one side, meiosis on the other side. Okay, and we're going to take notes with mitosis on one side, meiosis on the other side. So mitosis. The goal here is to make body cells. We said heart, liver, bone, muscle, basically anything except reproductive cells. One way I tell kids to remember this is mitosis. Sounds like toes, right? So it would make toe cells, right? Those are body cells. It doesn't make reproductive cells. Meiosis makes sex cells or reproductive cells, so sperm and egg cells. Meiosis has an E in it. I think of E for egg, egg cell. Okay. Now you'll have your notes, so you don't have to remember mitosis, meiosis, because you can look back at your notes, but make sure you've got these written down. So mitosis, we said, right? Used for your body cells, we need it to grow from a baby to an adult and to heal and repair. We talk about when you get a cut or you get a wound, you need to make new cells to replace those old cells. Or just sometimes cells just die off, right? Like your skin cells. You guys have all had dry skin or dead skin on your feet. Those are just old cells, right? So we need to make new skin cells to replace them. Or I'll talk about, when you burn your tongue, right? Your body has to make new tongue cells to replace the old ones. Meiosis, used for reproduction, okay? The reason I put sexual reproduction is because there is something called asexual reproduction. There's two different types. You don't need to know the difference. Just know that it's used for reproduction. All right, in mitosis, the cell splits in half. It divides once. And what kind of cells did we make? We made two cells. They're exactly identical. Think about it. If we had a skin cell, okay, we would want to make an exact copy of that skin cell to replace it. We don't want lots of different types of cells replacing that skin cell. We want the same cell. In meiosis, the cell splits in half not once, but twice, which makes sense because it splits in half once. Now it's got cells with 46 chromosomes. If it splits in half again, then we're going to get to the 23 that we need. So it's going to make 4 cells. The difference here, it makes 4 different cells. Think about it. If we have babies, right? So a mom and a dad have a baby, and then they have another baby later on. Those 2 babies aren't the same. If we made the same cells, the same egg cells and the same sperm cells every single time, all of the babies that 2 parents would have would look identical, which doesn't happen, except in the case of identical twins, which we can talk about. So how does meiosis make different cells? Okay, you're not going to need to know all of the parts of this for the test. I just wanted to tell this to you just so you have an idea, okay? So take a look. Here is meiosis, one cell going through meiosis. Notice we've got blue on the left, red on the right, okay? When this cell splits in half down the middle, the blue go into one cell, red go into another cell. And then when it splits in half again, we've got 2 cells with blue and 2 cells with red. Now notice, the second time it goes through meiosis, so let's say another cell goes through meiosis, they line up differently. We got blue and red, and then red and blue. So when it splits, we've got blue and red in one cell, red and blue in another, and then we get different cells here. So notice it matters when they line up, and they can line up in different combinations. Now we only see 4 chromosomes here. How many chromosomes do your cells have, your body cells? 46. Can you imagine how many different types of arrangements we could have with 46 chromosomes, all of them being different? This is how we get different types of cells being made through meiosis, is because they line up differently. This doesn't happen in mitosis, okay? So notice in mitosis, okay, they line up just in a long line. It doesn't matter if I've got red and blue, because I'll end up with red and blue, or if I do blue and then red, because I'll still end up with red and blue, right? Notice the cells that are made here are still identical. Again, don't worry too much about this. I just wanted to show you how we get different cells in meiosis. All right, back to our notes now. So mitosis makes cells with 46 chromosomes, okay? 2 sets, right? Those homologous chromosomes. We got one pair from mom, 1 pair from dad. Meiosis makes cells with only half of the chromosomes, or 1 set, so 23. Okay, so remember we make 4 cells that have 23. Mitosis, we make 46. When does mitosis happen? Well, if you think about it, you can get a cut at any point in your life and still get a scab, right? And still get a scar and have that heal. So mitosis happens your whole entire lifetime, okay? There are parts of your body that don't stop growing. Have you ever noticed on older people, they've got really big noses and ears? That's because your nose and your ear keep growing, okay? So your body's still growing and repairing even if you're 80. In meiosis, right, to make reproductive cells, okay, males begin meiosis at puberty, so, around 15, okay? This is when they begin producing sperm. Females actually begins before you're born. So when you're in your mom's stomach, right, when your mom's pregnant, okay, you're actually making egg cells, all right? Now, the trick is they don't actually mature until you reach puberty, okay? But you already have the egg cells inside of you, okay? And then it ends at menopause, which is when you're about 50 and you stop producing eggs, okay? So the big story here is that mitosis happens throughout your life, Meiosis, it depends on if you're male or female, and it doesn't happen for your whole entire life, okay? For a lot of us, it doesn't happen when we're really young or when we're really old. So take a look at this diagram. How many sperm cells are made from one cell? Here's our one beginning cell. How many sperm cells are made at the end? Did you say 4? If you did, you're right? 4 sperm cells are made. Okay, so we make 4 sperm cells. Don't worry about writing this diagram down. You don't need to draw this diagram. I just need you to write down that there's 4 sperm cells that are made. Now, why are we writing this down? Because males and females are different. Take a look here. Here's an egg cell. How many egg cells are made from one cell? Did you say 1? If you did, you were right. Okay, notice we've got 4 made here, but look at 3 of them will die. Okay, so egg cells, we only make 1 egg cell. Okay, the other 3 will die. Now we get lots of cells going through meiosis. So it's just every time they go through meiosis, they only make 1 egg cell. It's not that you just have 1 egg cell in your whole body. So that's all we have for mitosis and meiosis. You can see the comparison, right? Mitosis we use for body cells. Meiosis we use for making reproductive cells.